Women of crimes. Teens laugh after arrest. Think jail is a joke. Then the judge speaks. I have a feeling that this title is probably clickbait. This title is probably clickbait. As per usual. As per usual. There's always clickbait.
We're being the same one.
What do you mean, same one?
Same joke.
Yeah.
Yeah! Wait, they went through his phone? No, they're going to go through his phone. Were you trying to look good for your mugshot?
Oh, I gotta get a mugshot?
What, we're going to jail? What do you think?
Yeah, that's great.
Dude, I was going to do my makeup this morning for the mugshot, but I couldn't find anything.
I'm glad I don't actually look too bad today.
I look horrible.
This is Isabel Valdez and Lois Lippert.
This can't be real. This can't be real. They're all happy about it. Oh my gosh. Lock them up.
Sitting in the back of a police car, already arrested, already caught. And instead of tears, instead of silence, they are laughing. Because to them, the only thing that went wrong that day was getting caught before they could finish what they started. This is the chilling case of two teenage girls who allegedly spent 3 months building a plan designed to end a classmate's life inside a school bathroom. And every detail you're about to hear has been verified through court documents, arrest reports, prosecutor filings, and body cam footage. Prepare yourself, because what allegedly unfolded at Lake Brantley High School between October 2025 and January 23rd, 2026 raises unsettling questions about radicalization, obsession, and how long a plan can stay hidden inside a school with thousands of students. To understand how two teenage girls ended up in the back of that patrol car, we need to go back to where it all began. Isabel Aurelia Valdez and Lois Olivios Lippert attended Lake Brantley High School in Altamonte Springs, a suburban city of roughly 45,000 people in Seminole County, just north of Orlando. It's a large public high school, the kind of place where students move between classes in packed hallways, where a student can become invisible in plain sight. Isabel Aurelia Valdez, 15, was not invisible. Friends in class.
You know what's funny is I was about to say that as a fat kind of joke, and then he just goes on and says it. Yes, she's definitely not invisible.
Classmates knew her by her nickname, Jimmy. She was best friends with 14-year-old Lois Olivios Lippert. They were close, inseparable in the way that teenage best friendships often are. What nobody realized was that beneath that friendship, something much darker had taken root. Keep this in mind, because the plan that authorities say these two girls built together did not begin the week before it was stopped. It allegedly began 3 months earlier. That timeline matters enormously for what comes next. In the previous months, Valdez had developed what authorities described as an obsession with Adam Lanza, the gunman responsible for the December 2012 massacre at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut, where 20 children and 6 staff members were killed. Lanza died at the scene of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. 13 years later, a teenager in suburban Florida had reportedly become consumed by him. Valdez told investigators she used to be able to hear Lanza's voice in her head, but for some reason, that voice, she said, had recently gone silent, and she believed she had found a way to bring it back, or bring him back entirely. The plan, as she described it to police, involved killing a fellow student, a student she had selected for a specific reason, and she didn't just pick someone at random. She had been watching one specific student for weeks. She knew his schedule better than he did. The victim was a classmate at Lake Brantley, so why did he get targeted? Well, Valdez saw Adam Lanza when she looked at this student. She told police that killing this student would create a supernatural blood bond with Lanza that would resurrect him from the dead. Keep this detail in mind. It becomes central to everything that follows. That belief traces directly back to the Sandy Hook massacre. In certain online spaces, the perpetrator has become the subject of a disturbing cult of obsession, a phenomenon researchers and law enforcement have tracked for years. The FBI and Department of Homeland Security have documented cases where young people have been radicalized through these forums and platforms that glorify mass violence. Prosecutors allege that Valdez was not operating in isolation. She'd actually immersed herself in this material deeply enough to construct an elaborate belief system around it. The Columbine High School shooters Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, who killed 13 people in Littleton, Colorado in April 1999, were also referenced in the patrol car footage. These girls brought up their names so casually, so naturally, even while they waited for booking. That detail, the casual in-custody discussion of mass killers, was cited by prosecutors as further evidence of the kind of thought process they were dealing with. But there was some—
Yeah. These are the types of people, because they're underage. They're underage. These are the types of people that they just belong in an insane asylum. They keep them with the Joker, keep them with Harley Quinn, just keep them locked up. Just keep them locked up. They don't deserve to be out in public. They don't have the ability to think rationally. They follow down delusional pipelines without actually rational thought or discussion, and they find like-minded people because, again, the internet has allowed people to find other psychopaths and for them to develop friendships. Instead of them growing and realizing that the world isn't what they've learned online, it's what they've who they talk to around them. It's the people around them, because online people become their worst selves. Online people do, they'll say some of the most heinous things online because there's the feeling of because they don't, some people don't use their real names, some people you don't even have their faces, some people feel like they can just be who they really are online, but they're not that person in real life because they're cowards in real life and can't embody that. And online has become a very, very terrible place, especially for kids, So they followed down that pipeline online, and now they're stuck in that mentality. Is there rehabilitation for them? Probably. But honestly, social media should now be more like seen as a drug. More like seen as a drug. Like alcohol it's basically a drug. Weed is a drug. Nicotine is a drug. Caffeine is a drug. So many things are a drug, which in moderation are fine for you. Like for me, I just drink a soda. I'm addicted to soda. Okay, I'm addicted to soda, but it's not gonna consume my life. If anything, I'll just get a headache if I don't drink enough caffeine. If I don't have my coffee in the morning. But some people, it becomes their whole life. Social media. Social media is a drug that some people are absolutely addicted to, that it takes everything in their lives because their presence on social media is all that matters. Is all that matters. It doesn't matter about their loved ones. It doesn't matter about their families. It doesn't matter about their colleagues. It doesn't matter about anything but the perception on social media or their audience on social media and it's just like it's a drug. It is a drug, and so there need to be people out there that help those who have fallen way too far down this pipeline of a drug, which is social media, and understand that the majority of what you see isn't real. A lot, especially like the influencers and things like that. A lot of that is just people pretending to be something they're not in order to get views, in order to get clicks.
Something critical investigators needed to determine from the very beginning. How long had this been building? Turns out, the alleged plot had been in motion since approximately October 2025, 3 full months before the knife arrived at Lake Brantley on January 23rd. By October 2025, Valdez had begun to plan. She memorized the victim's class schedule. She tracked his movements through the school. She followed him through the hallways and, without his knowledge, photographed him. The photographs were a form of surveillance. They were evidence of a deliberate and systematic process of target selection. But here is what made this case more than a disturbing story about one girl's obsession. Valdez did not plan this alone. She brought someone in with her, and the role that person played was specific, active, and documented. It was her friend, Lois Lippert. Lippert's role was specific and active. She wasn't just aware of the plan, she actually helped execute the preparation. Police reports showed that Lippert helped sharpen the knife that Valdez intended to use. She tested its sharpness, not against a surface, but against her own skin, and against Valdez's shirt, to confirm the blade was ready. The two went into a school restroom together to do this, inside the building, during school hours. That detail, the testing of the blade inside the school, in advance, is one of the pieces of evidence prosecutors would later highlight as proof of premeditation. Defense attorneys entered not guilty pleas, but the physical location of the sharpening, a school bathroom, on school grounds, in the days before the planned attack, was not circumstantial. It was documented, confirmed by Valdez's own statements to investigators. Lippert also drew images of the intended victim. The drawings depicted the classmate dead, hanging from a rope, with Valdez beside him. Investigators described the sketches as graphic and disturbing. Additional sexually explicit drawings of the same student were also found among Lippert's materials. Prosecutors cited these drawings in the motion for pretrial detention as evidence of Lippert's continued engagement with the plan over time, not a passive moment of dark imagination, but images created and kept. Prosecutors said Lippert brought supplies to school on the day of the planned attack. The supply list included latex gloves at Valdez's specific request. Latex gloves, the kind someone would wear to hide evidence. It also included chocolate, a lighter, cigarettes, and flowers. Think about that. The cigarettes, according to Valdez's own statement to police, were planned for after the killing. She knew she would be arrested. She planned to smoke while waiting for law enforcement to arrive. The flowers were intended for the victim's body. The Clorox wipes, also brought to campus, according to the motion, were part of the cleanup plan. This was not an impulsive act. It was not a sudden eruption. Every item in that bag was selected with a purpose in mind. Every item reflected a specific step in a plan that had been in motion for 3 months. Shockingly enough, the bag wasn't even the most damaging piece of evidence. The night before the ritual, she'd already put it in writing. On the Discord messaging platform, Valdez wrote to Lippert, "It's gonna be over by tomorrow." She added, "I'm gonna make a blood ritual for Adam Lanza." She asked Lippert explicitly to bring the latex gloves. These messages were among the materials prosecutors cited in their motion to keep both defendants in custody without bond. There was something else in those messages, something investigators flagged as they built their picture of the alleged conspiracy. The communication showed not just planning, but anticipation, excitement, a countdown. Valdez's message said it would be over by the following day. She was marking the calendar. She was waiting for the day she had selected. The plan, according to the arrest report, was specific and sequential. Valdez would wait outside the boys' bathroom and push the victim inside. Once inside the stall, she would either stab him in the stomach or cut his throat with the knife. A microfiber towel had been brought to muffle any sound. After the killing, the blood ritual would be performed with the victim's remains. The flowers would be placed on the body, then the cigarette. Valdez told investigators she had also considered the timing carefully. She knew which part of the school day gave her the best access to the victim near the bathroom. She had followed him. She had studied his route. The January 23rd window had been selected. Then a classmate picked up a phone and typed a warning into an app. The entire sequence, 3 months of planning, target selection, supply acquisition, blade sharpening, Discord messages, and a morning arrival at Lake Brantley High School, with a 12-inch knife collapsed because one student decided to say something. On the evening of January 22nd, 2026, a student at Lake Brantley High School opened Fortify FL. Fortify FL is Florida's school safety tip application, a platform where students, parents, and community members can submit anonymous reports of potential threats. The app routes tips directly to law enforcement and school officials. Florida launched the system following the 2018 Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School shooting in Parkland, which killed 17 people. The intent was precisely this, to give students a frictionless, anonymous way to report threats without fear of social consequences. The student who reported made a simple warning. A student named Jimmy, the nickname used by Valdez, planned to kill somebody we know from school the following day. The tip was submitted on January 22nd. The attack was planned for January 23rd. That student's decision to open that app and type those words is the only reason this case involves an attempted murder charge and not a completed one. But here's what the defense didn't know when they later filed not guilty pleas. The tip was not the only thing waiting for Altamonte Springs police on the morning of January.
Who, like, they were so blatant that they were just talking about it to everyone. They were talking about it to everyone. I mean, those two best friends who are in on it makes sense, but the fact that it's gonna, they were talking to random groups, maybe someone saw something on some kind of message. I have no freaking clue. I have no freaking clue. That's
the
just
evidence
insane.
inside the school itself would add a second layer that the anonymous warning had only begun to reveal. By 7:38 a.m. on January 23rd, 2026, police had contacted Lake Brantley High School security. Officers pulled Valdez from class. Both Valdez and Lippert initially denied knowing anything about any plot. Then investigators searched Valdez's backpack, and they found exactly what the tip said would be there. The knife was there. A 12-inch knife. The exact same knife Lippert had allegedly helped sharpen in a school bathroom in the days before the arrest. Lippert was pulled from class next. Both were arrested and transported to booking.
Could you do me a favor? Try to stand up, put your hands behind your back. Just gonna tighten these just a little bit, okay? So move. You start pushing your hands, they'll get real tight. Okay, so just leave your hands. You all right?
Yeah.
You need me to loosen the limit? Which one?
No, it's okay. It's just I got it like stabbed in the back of the thing.
She's so big, she can't even put her hands behind her back.
That is when the patrol car camera began recording. The footage that began this story. The footage, a Florida judge later said, he could not ignore. Most people, when arrested for something this serious, go quiet. These two didn't. And what they said on camera is what changed everything at the bond hearing. They talked about going to the same jail.
Are we gonna be in the same one?
What do you mean, same one?
Same jail?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah!
Valdez and Lippert sat together in the back seat, physically close, unhurt. They spoke about their situation with a lightness that will make you pause. They talked about the anonymous tip. They were angry about it.
Gonna be arrested too.
What? Why?
Yes, I told him he knew. He didn't report me. I told him already. He did a tip?
There was a tip shown. Did you not see it?
No.
Someone tipped.
He f***ing snitched.
I don't know why I wouldn't tell the police he put the tip though.
Huh?
Police did a tip though. Because it was an anonymous tip. But I was just assuming it was by the writing.
Yeah.
Just like
It was?
Yeah.
Oh my God. But I knew I shouldn't have told him. Because he was like, oh, can you please tell me I can't sleep tonight? Fuck you! God!
It's so cold in that room.
Which, I know. Dude, they had me sitting there and I was so... Dude, they took away my chocolate.
No!
I was able to eat like a part of it, like a part of the big bar.
Oh my God.
But then that's it.
Really, damn it. Bro, I wanted to come back to second period so I could have like nibbled on some with you. I was like, this was my main goal.
Valdez was regretting the timing, not the plan.
Dude, I should have done it in the morning.
Yeah.
Dude, he was right there. I was following behind him.
They discussed how much time they might serve.
Not a school shooting, at least.
We'd be in prison for life.
Yeah. How long am I gonna get?
I'm probably not gonna get that much time. I mean,
I
like
just
for a few seconds, yo.
They calculated possible sentences with the casual detachment of two people discussing homework deadlines, not criminal penalties for attempted murder. They even discussed the possibility of having a homosexual relationship while being incarcerated.
We're gonna become one of those lesbian couples now. Yeah.
Yeah, and you could be the butch.
Yes. Hey, this is my bitch. Stay away.
Yeah.
Then talked about how they wanted to look for their mugshots.
Who, you trying to look good for your mugshot?
Oh shit, am I gonna get a mugshot?
What, we're going to jail? What do you
Oh
think?
yeah, that's crazy.
Dude, I was gonna do my makeup this morning for the mugshot, but I couldn't find anything.
I'm glad I don't actually look too bad today.
I look horrible.
And,
It's over.
and don't worry, you don't need to, don't worry, you're the butch. It doesn't matter if you look bad.
Hey, at least they were gonna see me some way or another in the mugshot.
Then they playfully discussed possible jail terms.
But honestly, we're probably gonna get like a minimum of, what, 4 years or so?
I'm not getting 4 years.
Yes, you are. You helped.
Dude, that was like, I'm not doing much.
At one point, Valdez addressed her own conscience directly and without hesitation.
I don't feel guilty for my actions, but I feel guilty on how you're gonna feel. Because honestly, I don't care.
Then the two returned to discussing the knife. They discussed sharpening it. The conversation drifted back to Adam Lanza, to Klebold and Harris. The names moved through the conversation like familiar reference points. They laughed. But the jokes ended on March 11th, 2026, when it was time for their bond hearing. The defense claimed that these were minors in an extreme situation, that the laughter and bravado were a coping mechanism, a way two teenage girls were processing the incomprehensible reality of their arrest. Lippert's parents took the stand and offered to supervise their daughter at home under strict monitored conditions. The argument was earnest. Then the prosecution's evidence was presented in full. Assistant State Attorney Dominic Leo addressed the court. He told the judge directly, there are no conditions of release reasonably sufficient to protect the community from the risk of physical harm. Remember that patrol car footage? Remember Valdez saying she should have acted earlier that morning, that the victim had been right there. That statement, captured on camera while she was in custody, was not hypothetical. It was a statement of continued intent. The footage was not evidence of shock or confusion. It was evidence of the same mindset that had allegedly driven 3 months of planning, stalking, and preparation. The judge denied bond for both defendants. Both Valdez and Lippert were ordered held without bond pending trial. In February 2026, the state attorney's office filed formal adult charges against both defendants. Both Isabel Valdez and Lois Lippert were charged as adults.
So they're charged as adults. Even though they're underage, they're charged as adults. There are times, and I think it was, where were they? Was it Florida? There are times where it just is, the law actually works. There are times where the law actually works because these people are just, that there's no help for them. There's no help for them. They need to be charged as adults. Attempted murder, pre-planned, like a meditated murder. Like that's insane. Meditated murder, not like a crime of passion. No, it's meditated murder.
Adults with attempted first-degree premeditated murder, attempted felony murder, and possession of a weapon on school property. The decision to charge them as adults was deliberate and documented. The state attorney's office explained publicly they were charging the teens as adults to give the justice system more options to incarcerate and control the defendants long-term than are available in the juvenile justice system. In the juvenile system, jurisdiction typically ends at age 21. In the adult system, the consequences extend further, and the sentencing range is substantially broader. Attempted first-degree premeditated murder in Florida carries up to...
So when that's the case, I believe they go into a juvenile facility, and then when they turn 18, they are transferred over to an actual federal, not federal, but a state prison. They're transferred over to adult prison.
Life in prison for adult defendants. For juveniles, outcomes are capped and bound differently. The state attorney's office made the calculus explicit. They wanted the full range of legal tools available. There was one more investigative thread that had not been closed by the time of the bond hearing. Altamonte Springs Police, the Seminole County Sheriff's Office, and the FBI were also investigating Valdez's alleged connection to 3 swatting calls made to Lake Brantley High School earlier that month on January 8th, January 20th, and January 22nd. Swatting calls are false emergency reports designed to trigger armed law enforcement responses to a location. The January 22nd call, the same day the Fortify FL tip was submitted, placed the school on alert twice in one day. The investigation into those calls was ongoing, and no charges related to them had been publicly filed as of the most recent reporting. The next scheduled court hearing for both defendants is April 29th, 2026. The patrol car footage, the laughter, the makeup comment, the statement that she didn't feel guilty, the regret about the timing was entered into the official court record. Prosecutors have indicated it will remain central to their argument that both defendants continue to pose a risk. Isabel Valdez and Lois Lippert are currently held in Seminole County custody without bond. Both have pleaded not guilty. Had they not been discovered early enough, we would be looking at an entirely different situation. A murdered boy.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I'm not guilty. But having them tried as adults, and again, because they're underage, what will happen is they'll just get a longer sentencing. They probably won't get a life. They probably won't get a death penalty. Well, they didn't commit the crime, but they was premeditated, and they're absolute psychopaths. But it's to the point where it absolutely they need to be removed from society for a long period of time. Maybe get their education in prison, you know, that stuff that they can do that there. They can get their education in prison. That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. But yeah, these people, some people just don't. Some people are just a problem. They're just an absolute problem on society. They're an issue, and yeah, I'm all for them being charged as adults, because I think we need to start being harsher with people that do crime. We just do. It makes sense. It makes sense. At least that's how I feel. At least that's how I feel.
You guys got a video? That was so bad.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Wait on that.